Good evening, everyone. Happy to welcome you to another episode of everUP Talks Jeet Ke Falsafay. everUP is committed to the advancement of our clients. Through this leadership series, we intend to bring to you the latest insights for boosting your career from today's business leaders across the world. We share the strategies, tactics, and information that help make you a more effective leader. The guest of today has worked for the government of West Bengal for 26 years as a labor administrator before resigning voluntarily as an additional labor commissioner. He holds a diploma in social work from IIS WBM and LLB from Calcutta University. In addition, he holds a PhD in management and an MBA from HR and also a diploma in training and development. In his 26 years as a labor administrator, he has held a variety of positions, including assistant director, joint director, and commissioner of employees' compensation at State Labor Institute. He has conducted sessions on labor laws and behavioral skills in many organizations. To name a few would be IIT Kharagpur, CMA, Management Development Institute, ICC, ISTD, and National Human Resource Development Network. He released two special issues of the West Bengal Labor Gazette in 2011 on labor laws and served as the first editor of Labor Bulletin, which was published by the State Labor Institute in Kolkata. He has co authored various papers that have been considered good contributions in this field and have also been published. He has lifetime memberships in NHRDN, ISTD, and NIPM. He describes himself as a passionate learner. And if you check out his long list of certifications, you would definitely agree with that. Please welcome Dr. Kalol Dutt, our guest for the evening. Welcome, Mr. Dutt.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we would like to begin right away from your early times when you started with your job and your career. So, what was your first job and what took you to that? And how did you get it? Everything, whatever you would love to share.
You asked me about my first job or
Yes,
education.
your first job and what took you to that, and how did
Yeah,
you get into that job?
yeah. At that time, actually, I was studying BSc with honors in physics, and actually, I did not like the subject. But it was difficult to change the subject after some time. You tend to lose some years. So I chose to, okay, since I have got admission, I will complete it. My exam was so bad that I told my friends that I will definitely fail. So, out of compassion, one of them brought me one form. It is called Miscellaneous Service Examination Form, Public Service Commissions. I filled up the form, I forgot about it. Then suddenly one day the admit card came. I still remember, maybe around 4 or 5 days before the exam, I got the admit card. I rushed to
Oh,
College Street to buy some guidebook, and I bought a guidebook. I still remember it is Khanna and Khanna's guidebook. And I appeared in the exam, and again I forgot about the exam. Then the interview letter came. I appeared in the interview, then as usual I forgot. Then I got the appointment letter suddenly, all of a sudden. So it was not planned. It happened incidentally. But one thing was clear: I never thought of joining private sector. I always thought of joining, maybe practicing as a lawyer, doing something different. But joining private sector was not on my agenda at any point of my time. So this is how I landed up. In fact, interestingly, my first job was that of deputy jailer.
seriously?
It's in jail, and it's a turning point also. In fact, throughout life, I what I call, I have very casual and amateurish approach. So in the interview board, that miscellaneous service exam, through that exam you can get around 7 or 8 jobs, 7 or 8 types of job. One of them was that of deputy jailer. So before the interview began, they gave us a form to give options. First option I gave actually of commercial tax, because the pay scale of commercial tax was higher than deputy jailer. Interestingly, in the interview board, when they asked what was your preference, I said I wrote in that form commercial tax, but my actual preference is deputy jailer. Having that courage, at present I will not be able to say that. Just 5 minutes ago, I filled up a form where I gave one preference, and in the interview board, I am saying my actual preference is different. It is taking a risk actually. But I was honest with the interview board, and the interesting point is that whenever you mention the word jail, deputy jailer, the interest shifts. So throughout the interview, they never asked me any question about general knowledge, current affairs, nothing. We talked about prison, and none of the member of the interview board knew about prison. Me too, I was also not aware of the prison. So it was more of hypothetical discussion, and it has its advantage. So there is no right or wrong answer. In fact, in subsequent interviews also, so my first job was deputy jailer. So in subsequent interviews also, whenever they learned that I served as deputy jailer for, I think, 5 years, the interviewers always focused on my experience as deputy jailer. So they never asked me about general knowledge or all other questions. It is in fact lucky for me actually.
So you enjoyed that period?
Enjoyed to certain extent, yes. It was interesting. It's a different, and everyone is curious to know what happens inside the jail,
Hmm.
and it was an interesting experience. But the job was not challenging. The challenge was lacking, but otherwise it was okay.
Seriously, I thought jailer's job must be very challenging, handling
No,
so
no,
many different variety of people.
no, no, not at all, not at all.
Okay. But you just now said that maybe I would have thought of being a lawyer and all. Did you ever, if you really thought of it, but you never, did you practice any time as a lawyer? Because you did your
No,
LLB.
no, I did my LLB, but by when I passed my LLB exam, I was already in service, so I cannot practice.
Uh, and you never thought of leaving and going for being a lawyer.
That was taking too much a risk. Leaving a government job and
Seriously.
going for law practice. If you have some in your family, you may take that risk. Otherwise, it's difficult. But in my student days, I thought of doing something different, something great, but I did not have a clear picture of what I am going to do. Law was one of the options, but again, since I got my job, government service, I never thought of leaving the service.
But law was your choice?
Law was my choice. So actually, after graduating with physics honors, uh, as I said, that I did not like physics at that undergraduate level. So I had actually two options. One is psychology. I was always interested in psychology, but at during my time, actually only one college offered psychology, BA in psychology, that is Gokhel, and Gokhel is a girls' college. So as a boy, I did not have that option of studying psychology. So
That's
I,
sad.
as sad, it is really sad. So I had to study physics. So
Uh,
after passing physics, at that time there was a CAP course, Certificate in Applied Psychology, under Calcutta University. Only physics honor student could apply for that. And after passing that CAP course, you can go for MA in psychology. So I had two options before me, either LLB or psychology, that CAP course. Interestingly, the advertisement for admission to LLB course was published before that psychology course. So I
hmm.
got admitted in LLB. So naturally, I could not go for psychology. And that is why afterwards, you will see that I have done a course on applied
Yes,
sociology.
I've
Recently, I did
seen.
a course on psychology also. So that interest is still there. In fact, that is one of the reasons of choosing me, uh, the job of jailer. See, commercial tax, you are dealing with money, and in jail, you are actually dealing with human
People.
beings,
Yeah.
people. In fact, my last job, that of additional labor commissioner, there also you are dealing with people. That always, people always actually attracted me.
So, hearing all that, what I infer is that you did not have but an inclination or kind of a goal that you want to get into government sector. It just happened to you, right?
Uh, it happened. That's true. But I never thought of joining private sector.
Okay, so
My point of view
indirectly
was
you
that
were there.
why, indirectly, yes, yes. Actually, I used to think that why should I work for someone else's profit? In government service, you do not working for someone else's profit. It is for the citizens' benefit.
Good thought. So, if any of the freshers today, because this show would be seen by a lot of people, so if any of the freshers today, they also want to carve their way forward, like you, maybe in government service or any of the areas where you work, any advice for smoothing out their journey?
Your voice is cracking.
Okay, I'll repeat. If today any of the freshers, they want to take up any of the choices, like you have been there. So, if they want to walk the same path, do you have any advice for them
Yeah,
smoothing
yeah,
out their
yeah.
journey?
I understand. Yes.
Yes, please.
My advice is that don't uh, go for the external criteria of any service, be it government or private. Uh, do not take up government service for power. Do not go for government service for prestige, or do not go for private sector for money. It is important to understand our intrinsic motivation. What motivates me? If it is aligned with our job, then well-being is ensured. I will be happy doing what I am doing, and that is, I think, most important. Money, prestige, other things, they are secondary, though we get attracted towards them, that external condition. But the internally, what I am actually doing in a job, what I will be actually doing, that is most important. If that is aligned with my intrinsic motivation, it is better to go for that job, even if it pays less, or other in other criteria also, if it is less. So connecting with our inner self, our what they call calling, is very important. Otherwise, I will be spending maybe 8 or 10 hours of my life not enjoying. uh, and life and livelihood, if you can match life and livelihood, then you are happy. Otherwise, if don't make livelihood your life, if it matches, it's okay. Otherwise, actually, in psychology, it is again clear that external motivation cannot give us happiness. If you are running after money, you run after money, you will never get satisfied. If you get a job of 1 lakh per month, after getting the job, you will need 2 lakhs per month. It's a never ending process. You do not know where you will finally land up. Even maybe after 30 years of life, if you gain power, money, everything, maybe within yourself you will remain unsatisfied as ever. So it is very important to understand what I actually want, aligning that with my career, and don't making livelihood my life. If it matches, life may become my livelihood, it may coincide. But if I'm doing something only for earning money as livelihood, then I should not make that my life. Many people fall in this trap actually. They look forward towards promotion, better, those achievers, those who are very ambitious, higher, higher, higher in that corporate ladder, and they forget about their life. What I am livelihood is basically I am selling a part of my life to lead my life if it doesn't match with my intrinsic motivation. That differentiation is, I think, very important in life.
Absolutely agree on that. And since you said about this, so I think I would like to share something with you. Probably this will remind you also of certain things. Can you see the picture?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Since you said about the topic, so I thought, why not this one? And I also saw the tagline that is there on Facebook. Which one is a good job? One that pays well, then what defines a good pay? And they've written that highly intelligent as well as humorous, witty Kalol, that he brought up these questions to lead. So would love to know what was this about? What were you discussing in this and what all happened? Because this was all about students.
Yeah, yeah. It's the pictures from, I think, in Brentwood University. I
Brainware.
was invited
Yes.
to deliver
Yes.
lecture on some livelihood career, something like that. I could
Absolutely.
not
It
remember that
was
exact.
happy life and yeah, everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you go for happiness, I do not have those statistics right now. I mentioned there are many psychological studies on this. I mentioned about intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. They studied, but most of the studies are regarding American students. There they saw that people who went for intrinsic motivation, they were much more happier, even if they're getting less. And
Mhm.
those who are successful, money wise, otherwise, materialistically, their happiness quotient is not that much. uh, there are so many studies actually. So it is always important to actually that famous know thyself. Knowing me is very important. In fact, I must mention here theory of Carl Rogers.
Mhm.
He's a psychologist, in fact one of the propounder of positive psychology. He said that, see, think about a small child, a newborn baby. He tries to crawl, he tries to stand up, and gradually he, after failure maybe, he ultimately gets success. What motivates the child to stand up or to crawl? Rogers says that it is actualizing tendency within us. We, all of us, have that tendency to become the best version of ourselves. Now how society intervenes, that is very interesting. So whenever a child stands up, he gets the notice of the parents. Parents say, ah, my child, my son stood up for the first time. Maybe the father will call the mother, or mother will call the father. See, see, he is standing, he can stand now. Maybe they will call the neighbors also. So the boy starts getting appreciation for what he naturally does. Initially, it is not that always he will be able to stand up. Suppose the parents has brought that neighbors to show that their child can stand. Now somehow he could not. The child will feel the discouragement or disappointment of the parents. So what? Intrinsic motivation, I was trying to stand up. Now I am trying to stand up to impress my parents, to get their appreciation. So our focus is shifting towards something else. The same thing with our education system. It is not for learning, but it is for getting good mark, good mark sheet. From learning to mark sheet. Similarly, so the our happiness also shifts. Now, if I always go for societal approval, think about social media, LinkedIn or Facebook. If we go for only the likes, how many viewership, then the joy of sharing good things, or the joy of sharing my thought, my feeling, will be gone. I will gradually tend to do what will get attention of other people. It The moment my likes or viewership goes down, it will make me unhappy. So see how the external situation is actually taking me away from myself. I think as a student or at any age, this is most important thing. In fact, as a parent also, we should remember that this is how we get detached from ourselves. Rogers actually used the term. He says that condition of worth. I
Hmm.
am valuable because I can stand up. In case of a child, in social media, I am valuable. My worth depends on number of likes or number of viewership. As a student, my worth not depend does not depend on my learning, but on the mark sheet. So all my worth is becoming conditional, and the through our education system and the way society functions, everything actually takes us away from ourselves. So
Right.
our worth is not because what I am, but because what I can do to show that I am better than others. Whenever my worth becomes conditional, it will never make me happy.
Absolutely.
That is actually my focal point of that discussion. So it is important to know what is your conditions of worth, getting rid of that, so that you can understand what you actually like. As Roger said, we all have that actualizing tendency. We want to become the best version of yourself, ourselves. In many activity, you will realize if you love singing, you will sing. Whenever we are happy, we sing, na? Even if we cannot sing. And that gives us happiness, not because others are liking my singing, but I am feeling happy
I'm
by singing. So that is actually true happiness. So we should not forget our true self. And actually, we are conditioned through our education system, the way we are brought up, in such a way that it is very difficult to find our true calling. Uh, I think that is the challenge,
absolutely.
and that should be addressed throughout our life. It is a continuous journey. Know thyself, why I am here. That is most philosophical and I think fundamental question that we need to ask, continuously ask ourselves throughout our life.
Totally agree to that. In fact, when I did my happiness coach certification, even I did study a little, and I remember one quote of him that said that I feel happier just for being myself and letting others be themselves. So
Exactly,
nowadays, what happens is people like we don't even care that what are we happy with. We just start thinking what others think about us, and we start
exactly,
proving that and making and thinking that I will be happy with that if people think good about me. So definitely,
exactly.
thank you so much for sharing that. And you also brought in one important point when you were talking. Just a question before this, I would like to bring that again. People usually say two things which we hear normally. One is government officials show too much power and possession, and second is for all those private corporate jobs people that they show too much of money. So how do you feel because you've seen both the sectors? Any say and any feel in that?
Again, again, you need to understand yourself. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Uh, yeah, power and prestige goes with government job, but again, depend on the hierarchy. But more importantly, government job has security. That is also important. Many people go for government job for that job security.
Absolutely.
Private job is not secure. Again, whenever we think about private sector, we think about the corporate sector, we think about the big corporate sector, but that is not true. Thousands, crores of people are actually laboring maybe in the private sector 12 hours a day and not earning enough. There is
Absolutely.
much more exploitation.
Much more.
But again, my experience shows that the nature, ultimately, people, human beings, remains the same whether he works in a private sector or a government sector. So the culture of both the private sector and government sectors are changing. Now it government sector, earlier government job was actually relaxed. Nowadays it is not so. It is truly 24/7. In West Bengal, many people actually say that there are a number of holidays are much more. But holidays means office remain closed, but officers are not. We always need to check our WhatsApp messages. If you think about this Duare Sarkar campaign, it happens throughout the week, Saturday, Sunday, holiday. Think about any emergency situation, nothing, even if you have to postpone your wedding also in such a situation.
Seriously?
So
Oh
these
God.
are the, yeah, these are the other factors of government job that I think private sector people do not know about. And
Hmm.
at present the meeting happens at VC happens at 10 o'clock also, 10 o'clock in the night. So the nature of job has changed totally, but still that job security is there. Again, the challenge of government sector is different from that of private sector. But basically I think
Absolutely.
both government sector has and private sector have many similarities. In government sector there are politics, private sector also there are politics, but maybe in private sector the politics is that organizational politics is much more tough. Think about that AI, that chat gpt case that happened. The founder was actually kicked out. In government sector maybe he will be transferred, not kicked out. But basically all are human being, and in that way everything is similar. But if you want to join government sector, it is not only power or job security, whether I have that service mentality, that is important. Apart from in police service, basically we serve whatever the people say, we actually serve the citizens. So if I have that citizen centric mentality, then it is better to join government sector. And another point I will address, those are actually sensitive subjects which are not discussed openly. Many people have reservation that see educated best brains are joining government service. Think about IS, Indian Administrative Service. The best brains of the country are joining, and they have to work under not so educated political personalities. This is a debate I have seen, particularly in the private sector, not in the government sector. They say that even for minister there should be qualification. But what we forget, because I was in government service for 33 years, 26 years as labor administrator. So I have interacted with politicians, ministers also. The politicians, they may not have marks, they may not have certificate, but they learn from life, and
Hmm.
that is difference between a politician and a bureaucrat. Maybe bureaucrats' knowledge is more theoretical, and you cannot learn life by reading books. You have to lead life to learn from life, and they can easily grasp a situation through instinct, intuition, not theoretical learning. And that is what we, the educated population, I think lack very much. We have bookish knowledge. Even the knowledge is actually, we learn by rote learning, na? So we do not uh, relate with our own life whatever we have learned. That is why I have realized during my 35 years in government service.
Absolutely.
So
And once again, yes. And once again, you brought in one thing. So here I honestly, we always thought that work-life balance is always disturbed in corporates. But thankfully got to know from you today that work-life balance is a problem for even government jobs.
exact,
Since you said postponing even the wedding. That was something really extreme. So here I want to ask one more thing, that since I mean, work-life balance is always an issue everywhere. But yes, for security, we say government jobs are better. But in that case, like in corporates, I would say there are two things. One is usually for performance issues, people are kicked out if you don't perform well. Another, I would say, a lot of times to kick out people also. This is actually created also that you're not performing well. People don't speak about it openly, but that is also a protocol that people follow. Does this happen in government
The
sector?
last portion I missed. The last portion I missed.
Okay, I'm saying, but
People are kicked out for non-performance.
yeah, in corporate sector, one is people are kicked out for non-performing. Second is a lot of times they create a hype that someone is not performing. I mean, they may not be so, but just to kick out someone, we go the other way around. So does this happen in government sector also, or is it that no, the job security is well addressed there, and it's only when you're not performing then only this comes up?
Interesting question. In government sector, the dynamics are different. You are not kicked out. No one is
Okay,
kicked out from government service.
wow.
So, but you may be sidelined, and it may not have any relation with your performance. So, an underperformer may be kicked out, I mean, sidelined. A good, outstanding performers may also be sidelined. And usually in government service, uh, more often the outstanding performers are actually sidelined,
Sad.
because it is in government service. First of all, you cannot measure the performance the way in private sector you can do. And there are, in government sector, many stakeholders has different interest. So you cannot objectively measure performance. And what your political masters want, that is one factor. What you want, that is another factor. What citizens want, other stakeholders want, that is another factor. So in government, you have to balance all those factors. So it is multidimensional. So measure, you cannot measure that way actually.
Absolutely.
And they are not kicked out, but they are sidelined. Many good officers are sidelined, uh, and some of them take VRS.
Got it. So we are not going into details for both so that we don't hit upon anything. But just one quick question. Since there is so much politics everywhere and since there are so many obstacles everywhere, so thankfully you've grown to such a height. Were there any obstacles that came in your way and how did you deal with it?
Uh, Again, I think empathy and being non-judgmental, be it office politics or anything. Whenever I am in a conflict situation, in personal life or in professional life, we tend to judge other people. I am good, they are bad. I am okay, you are not okay. That produce, that accelerates that conflict, and it becomes detrimental for both the parties. So first thing is to trying to understand the other person. In government sector, as I have said, there are multiple partners, they all the stakeholders have different interests, and you have to keep in mind all those things and balance. So understanding others is also important. In office politics or whenever there is a hurdle in your career, you can blame other person, that will not change the situation, that may worsen the situation. But if you try to understand other people's perspective, if someone is trying to put hurdles or trying to harm me, first I need to understand why he is doing so, and that makes things easy. You'll be able to understand. If you are able to understand the thing from opponent's perspective, so-called opponent's perspective, then you can come out with a viable solution for that also. And but if you label them that they do not like me, they want to harm me, they are my opponent, they are enemy, you will be fighting always. And sometimes you will win, sometimes you will lose, but ultimately it will create much tension in your. And this is, I think, a dysfunctional strategy to deal with any conflict situation or in organizational politics. It is better to understand others. And another thing is what I actually gained uh, during my third service period. There were enemies, there were fights, there were office politics, but throughout I behaved. My behavior was aligned with my sense of value. I never did anything which I thought is not right to do. If you continuously go on doing the right thing, ultimately people accept that. I will refer Gandhiji. Uh, in one of the earlier days of Congress, maybe Gandhiji attended that first Congress conference, and it was dirty in the morning. The place was dirty. He did not complain. He started sweeping the place. Then gradually others joined, and the culture, in fact, changed. So that is very important. If someone is trying to harm me, first of all, he is not my enemy. He is acting from his perspective. So I should not be vindictive. That will escalate the problem. I will behave in my own way. My behavior, I maintained it throughout. My behavior should not be dependent on others' behavior. My behavior should reflect me. If I am polite, I will remain polite. If other person is not polite, that doesn't matter. Sometimes we get into that vindictive mode. If he is bad, I will also behave badly. No, then I am a function of that person. Why should I be? I am an independent person. My behavior, my personality, my deeds will reflect my value, will reflect what I am, not what others have done to me. This is what I followed throughout my service life, and it paid a dividend actually, ultimately.
Awesome. That was really lovely. In fact, never thought this way that our behavior should also not be conditional. So that was wonderful thing to
Yeah,
learn.
yeah.
So one more thing, since you said you just brought in like AI and all that, which we were discussing. So do you feel that artificial intelligence will definitely impact jobs? We know that. So how do you feel with relevance to both the sectors, government sector as well as private sector? Any
I think
thoughts? Anything?
artificial intelligence. Yeah, I have I have thought. I think it is very close to my heart. Think about science, scientific revolution. Think about technology. It started. They now machine can do the manual work. So our what we can do with our muscle, that can be done by machine. Now robotics has they can do precision job also. So that is gone. Now the function of my our brain will be done by AI. That is also gone. So intelligence and physical power in the future will have no value. Already in the present, after civilization, we became scientifically advanced. The man power of a man or human being, physical power, it has less value. Now intelligence had its value. Now that will be replaced by AI. So what is left? It's my question. What is left? Actually, all the characteristics of a human being, those who are not essentially human, they are taken up by the AI and robotics and scientific advancement. So if you think about what is truly human, that will
Emotions
have
is gone,
much more.
right?
Exactly, emotion, heart. So in fact, one of my favorite saying is that You can hire a brain, but you cannot hire a heart. For all my calculation, bookkeeping, accounts, I can hire a person who knows that. But I love hearing music. That I cannot ask someone else to do. That I have to do it myself. So
Happiness is brought
essentially,
only by people.
exactly.
I'm saying happiness
So
is brought only
basically,
by people. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, ultimately, I think in the years to come, human qualities will have much more value than intelligence. Even emotional intelligence also will come into play. But how I am interacting with other people, in fact, empathy, compassion, all those human qualities, they will have more value in future in the era of AI. Already, see, knowledge has lost its place. Now you can Google anything. Entire world is in
Seriously.
your hand. Everything is in your hand. So knowledgeable person does not have that value nowadays. Now intelligent people will also lose their place. So only those who are human, maybe those who are not, we are not giving them value as yet, they will become more valuable in the days to come. That is how I see AI. It's a
Even
welcome
me.
development.
Definitely. I mean, that's why 2024 skills, so soft skills are holding quite a high place in 2024. And that's all
Exactly.
because of the human ground that we carry. Wonderful. So thank you so much knowing about this. And one of the things that I got about you, I hope I'm right. I felt that you're quite a calm person, knowing about right from your beginning of the job until now. So feel that you're really think that shows the way that you actually have been in your career, your HR background, and I think that also gives you the way and the way you train people. So awesome on that. Let's move to another round. That's the rapid fire round. And here I'm going to ask you short questions, and you need to come up with quick answers as fast as possible with some few short ones. Some would be choices, etc. This is more to know how are you, what you like, and what all is there that you prefer in your life. So people who love you, who are your followers, would love to know about you. All right. So all set.
Right.
One thing with which you like to start your day. One thing which with which you like to start your day.
A cup of tea. A cup of
Okay.
tea.
You love tea.
Yeah, yeah, I love tea. Anytime is tea time for me.
Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Curious.
Okay.
Curious human being.
Yeah. That's my okay. That's very smart. All right. What's the first thing you notice about someone when you meet them?
Eyes.
Okay. So you notice intelligence. What do you
Eyes.
notice? Curious.
I do not think about it. I catch the vibe.
I feel the honesty and the feel that people give that reflects in the eyes. That connects people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Any book that has deeply impacted you?
Alchemist.
Okay.
Paulo Coelho.
Which part of the day are you most productive?
It depends actually. I'm an early riser. Means if 6 o'clock is early, I think nowadays 6 o'clock is quite early.
Yeah.
So, but if I have to do some academic work, it's night.
So you prefer, if I say your me time, that would be night or that would be morning? Your me time.
It it may be any time.
Okay. Good. All right. Some choices to make. Bengal is known for both its food as well as for foodies. So a quick choice by you. Dal chawal or biryani and kebab? Your favorite meal.
Biryani.
Oh,
Bhat
biryani. Then
chawal.
you get
Then not biryani, but not biryani. Dal chawal.
Oh, dal chawal.
You said
Okay.
dal chawal or biryani? Yeah, yeah,
Dal
dal
chawal or
chawal.
biryani and kebab.
It was
Yeah.
my favorite dal chawal.
Okay. So very simple person, a very simple life. Easy. All right. Another choice: rasgulla or rabdi.
Difficult choice. Rabdi.
Okay. Morning or late night, you already gave. Government or private sector for you?
Government.
Ratan Tata or Steve Jobs? Which would be your choice?
Missed.
Ratan Tata or
Repeat
Steve Jobs? Your choice.
again.
Is it?
It's
Is it your headphone is giving certain issues? Because I don't feel any issues here.
Let me remove the headphone.
Yeah, just try
Yeah.
it once. Is it now better?
Yeah, it's now better. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
better.
Ratan Tata or Steve Jobs? Your, I mean, your choice, your favorite
Ratan
leader.
Tata.
Ratan Tata. I
Ratan
thought so
Tata.
because you care for India a lot. Yes. One superpower you would choose if you had an option.
To Hill.
Lovely. Awesome answer. How do you cope with stress? I mean, I don't think you ever had stress, but if you, how do you cope with it?
By doing nothing.
Okay. That means your own me time. Be more self aware,
Time,
more.
yeah, time heals actually.
Absolutely. Okay. What's the nicest compliment someone has ever given you? I know your list is long, but you can pick anyone out of it.
I have to think a lot, think a lot. Many people, actually, I get negative compliments more than positive compliments. So
Seriously.
it's difficult. That is seriously, yes.
So give me one negative
Maybe good
compliment and
heart.
give me one positive. Give me both one.
Wow. Many people think that, yeah, courageous, that I
Ah,
like most.
okay. And what's the negative one which you like?
That I plan too much,
So actually you're praising yourself in
which is
both the
not
ways,
true.
huh?
No,
Okay.
which I do not. That is why there
Actually
is
you
negative
don't, yeah.
compliment.
Because the early days you spoke about, you didn't plan, but everything it was like you just did it and you forgot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, three pillars of leadership according to you.
Empathy, vision, team.
I thought so. You'll definitely bring people. Wonderful. You actually made a good choice. And in fact, the best choice that all the books bring forward. Lovely. Are you an extrovert?
Basically, I am an introvert, but I know the skills of being extrovert.
So you're an ambivert.
Maybe,
Good.
maybe.
Okay. As an HR person, what is the biggest skill you think is the most important for anyone to achieve success in life? Not only career, in
Empathy,
life.
empathy.
Okay. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
interestingly, empathy towards your own self also.
Hmm. Are you easy to accept your own failures, or is it does it seem difficult for you?
Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy. If I fail an exam, it's easy. If
Absolutely.
someone says negative things about me, then it's difficult.
And but those negative things that come your way was actually a compliment. I thought negative means actually negative. Or maybe you didn't share it here, so you can share it separately. That's
Yeah,
fine.
maybe, yes.
All right. If you could trade places with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
I will not.
Wow, that was one of the fabulous answers. They are so happy to be yourself, and that should be one of the proud moments, or rather, I would say everyone should look for that, not trade places. Lovely. I like that. What never fails to make you smile? I mean, anything that gives you a smile always?
Kids,
Wonderful choice.
kindness.
Yes, absolutely. Any person who has had a major or has significant impact in your life?
Close person or anyone, any
Anyone
historical figure
in
may
your
be.
life, yeah.
Mahat- Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay. And anything specific that you like about him?
Confidence.
Okay. Any person who knows you the most?
Not audible.
Any
Any
person who
person,
knows you the most?
I doubt.
Oh, hidden diary. Ah. Okay.
Maybe my daughter.
Another one.
Maybe my daughter.
Your daughter.
Maybe
Lovely.
my daughter.
Okay. And two questions together. Any mentor of yours, your favorite mentor, and anyone to whom you are the favorite mentor? Anyone who has
I
been
do not
your
have
favorite
many.
mentor? Yeah.
Uh, I do not have mentor, any mentor as such, but a person who inspired me. He was actually for a time the secretary of our labor department. It is better not to name him. He's an
Ah,
IS
oh,
officer.
hmm.
He tried to mentor me a lot, and he liked me almost like his son.
Wow. Lovely. And anyone to whom you are one of the favorite mentors?
Many of my colleagues, junior colleagues. Again, it is better to not to name them.
Sure, I understand. And of course, I'm sure your daughter must be there in that list. Okay.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. Nowadays, kids, we say hopefully, right? Your proudest work achievement?
Pardon again.
Your proudest work achievement? Any work achievement that makes you feel very proud of yourself?
There are many. There are many. Uh,
So, one of the latest ones.
what one is that when I was posted at State Labor Institute, it was going to close down, but I
Oh,
played a pivotal role in reviving it. That is one of my most interesting achievement, and
wonderful.
conducting that Lok Adalat for labor cases.
But that must have given you but lot of
This,
exposure also, right? You revived
yeah,
it, so
yeah,
must be
and
lot of exposure.
self-satisfied. Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, two hypothetical kind of questions. If you had the power to invent a new holiday so that we all can celebrate, what would that be?
again, it is getting cracked. If
If
I have
you
the power to
if you had the power to create a new or to invent a new holiday, what would we celebrate?
being human. Now there are Women's Day, na. In place of that, we should celebrate and try to being more and more human.
Hmm.
Am I clear?
So every year we would have a new agenda. One would be something like
Yes.
kindness. Lovely. Okay.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
a last question, very personalized to you. If you write any day a biography or an autobiography, anything that you can think of, what would the title be?
I wonder. The title will be I wonder.
I understood. That's nice because I could not think, but yes, because you said, then I thought I left it, I did, and I forgot. I lived, I did, and I forgot. So I think I wonder is the best title. Lovely. So before we close, any good advice for all the people who are sitting out there? They follow you as the mentors, a silent mentor. They don't tell you, but they want to learn from you. Any quick advice? advice for them?
Advising is difficult, but what I have learned throughout life is that uh, focus on your inner intrinsic motivation. Try to find out your calling, what actually excites you. It is not what others expect from you. It is, again, it's a lifelong process, knowing oneself এবং and trying to become the best version of myself. Others things will follow. Steve Jobs became Steve Jobs. He did not want to become the richest man. He followed his passion, and everything else followed. And to become a successful, happy person, you need not be intelligent. You need not be knowledgeable. Think about Mother Teresa or many great people around us. Many people who are highly successful. In fact, most of them are not even graduates. Neither Steve Jobs or Bill Gates are graduates. So education is overestimated, particularly formal education is overestimated. If I can become the best version of myself, other things will automatically follow. So, who am I and what could be my highest level? That is actually difficult to determine. Again, as I said, it's a lifelong process, and we should not detach ourselves from ourselves. Again, in the words of Carl Rogers, he said that we should be congruent, integrated, harmonious person. Then everything will fall in line.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm so glad this has been one of the best interviews. Even I learned a lot from you today being with you. So thank you so much. And I'm sure the audience must have enjoyed as well as learned from you. Thank you everyone for joining us. And a special thanks to you for being and for taking out your time in spite of your difficult schedule. And you had another program also today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.